What is good, ladies and gentlemen? We are here today with some Star Citizen, and also, as you can see here in a little side window, we are here with the Artemis rocket launch. Now, we're T-minus 10 minutes and 25 seconds until the launch, roughly. I will say about 10 minutes. And, yeah. Are you excited, ladies and gents?
From some issues that we've been facing over the past hour. Just to
yeah. Now that's the RQB air drive that we've got, but yeah, this one is just something else. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the interesting thing is it's because we're off to a different part of the moon as well. It's going to be interesting because obviously we're a bit behind. China already been back to the moon. China have already found a new gemstone or a crystal on the moon. I don't know if you heard about this, but that gemstone and crystal. Sorry, say that again, bro.
Along with the upper stage of the liquid hydrogen side of the equation. So we're just
basically this gemstone will enable humanity to have unlimited power, but being China have got it, and their previous history of Chinese Communist Party might not be the situation.
Officer reporting in to the NASA test director that the Ethernet switch.
Oh, we know aliens exist.
This problematic switch took down their ability to see radar from one of their assets.
Oh, they're already inside of us, bro. You ever wondered why humanity's depressed as fuck nowadays? Like, there's a reason for that. It's called a parasitic... no, I'm joking. Could you imagine? But...
So at the moment, we're looking still at a 1.
Yeah. You always wondered why you had voices in your head. It's called telepathy, and they're real voices from extraterrestrial. Yeah, it's that point where it's like, have you ever heard voices in your head? Well, now with our alien technology, you will hear our every desire. You know, like...
the T-minus 10-minute hold. We just entered that, and now roughly we're looking at 28 minutes to resume terminal count.
Oh, that's
the
funny.
launch team will assess what work needs to be done, how that syncs up with the range getting back online with their
I'm hyped for this. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. But it's T-minus 10 minutes holding. It's holding at T-minus T. Hold on.
So things are obviously still very dynamic. We're going to come back to Daryl as much as possible. Now, to understand where we are going, we have to know where we have been. To do that, we spoke to some of the special few who...
I love that. I love when they turn around and they're like, to understand where we're going, we have to understand where we've been. I have been there, and I'm now here. Understood. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like... Dude, if I told you I've made roughly 42 million in the last 2 days in Star Citizen by doing this. Hello, and welcome to Area 18. The one place we do not care about your safety. So I've been literally sat in game doing this and fucking with people, and it was been like, welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval terminal. You know, like every time and this guy kept going back and forth doing it. It was freaking amazing, bro. Honestly, I loved it. I loved it.
All engines running. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff 49 minutes past the hour.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 400 either. To be fair, though, I could do... Where is it?
The landing to me was a great celebration. The nation was almost euphoric.
Mate, that sounded like Goofy talking, I'm not going to lie.
There are so many things that we can eventually learn about our universe and the spacecraft that we use exploring.
We are a nation of explorers. During Apollo, we were on national TV literally every day.
Wait, what you got to set up on the website?
Something visible that Americans could see and they could feel and say, look what we are doing. And I believe Artemis.
There you go. We can have a bit of a bigger screen there.
And what we are doing now.
I feel bad because you can't see the screenshots now, but
Artemis will stand on the shoulders of Apollo.
I've got 3.
They're going to have the eyes of the world on them when they start down this trail.
All honesty, the third one's a 4K TV. That's sat above, so like if you can see on my webcam here, we've got the main screen here, we've got the separate screen which the video is running on, and then we've got the 4K screen there. Just because the size of it, I can fit all of like my streaming stuff on. I can get OBS, Discord, voice meter, all of that on there. Now what's funny with what you're seeing here on a PC, right, is if I go to this here and change the screen that is picking up, watch this.
If you're just joining us, welcome to NASA's Kennedy Space Center.
So I'm going to change it to the third little screen. Now watch what happens when the screen changes.
Wow, take a look at all of those people who are there hoping to watch the launch today. You know, this is
So we'll just wait for him to switch scene.
It'll
Will probably take him ages, but
in Huntsville, Alabama, that center played a crucial role in contributing to the Artemis program. So I'm not surprised that there are a bunch of people there watching. All right, so now we're going to take a
if it's going to
go
change,
back to
are we going to
Leah
change?
Martin over at Banana Creek. Again, that's
There you go. You see it change there
center, and she's with
when
some
it
other
flipped
folks who
over?
Came out to watch today's launch.
Yeah, you know, Megan,
So if I put this on here, you'll see like it'll change, the lights change based on what's on the actual screen. So it's pretty sexy.
From all over the country joining us here tonight. I'm actually joined by some friends of ours who are joining us from Georgia and Utah. What does it mean to be
Right, I actually better get into the game. It might help.
I
I'll tell you what, the Corsair looks nice, doesn't it? With Drake Corsair.
Have helped build the rockets and are here tonight.
I've
It's
not-
important to know that we all have a little bit of personal ties to the rocket.
I'm not in the PTU, but I've just watched someone on stream with it. I'm gonna wait until the event in 2 days' time so I can get it free in game.
Later in life. And you were actually telling me a little bit earlier that you grew up in the Apollo era in those years following those first launches, and now here, how does it feel to be watching the sister program launch and seeing at the beginning?
Look at the goosebumps. That tells it all right here. I'm totally thrilled to be here.
Now, and you were actually telling me that you have a personal connection to this rocket as well. You know some people who have
Oh, if someone wants to buy me it, please feel free to.
How does it feel for you to be something that's the culmination of so many years?
I'm struggling to afford to live at the moment, let alone anything else. So yeah, it would be appreciated.
Like I wasn't even born last time people tried to get to the moon. So it's awesome. I think it's so exciting, and I cannot wait.
And we have.
Oh, earlier I was just setting up. You see this here, all these different streams here. So I pre-set up my streams for the event. We got a different one each day. And what's really cool is I've actually gone through on the thumbnails and used a logo kit to. So if you see in this top right here, see the Anvil Aerospace on day 5, for example, Alien Ships on day 4, Aegis Dynamics on day 3. So I've been going right through doing these. Because I cannot wait for the event, to be fair. It's going to be amazing.
Interactive state-of-the-art tool we're calling the Moon Board.
That's right, Megan and everybody. Welcome back to the Moon.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Right, this is the new technology. This is where it gets crazy, okay? Hold on. Let me just sort this out.
That's been remedied. We haven't had any issue with those tail umbilicals that we were tracking so closely back in August and September. So everything looking really good with SLS. Just to recap, most powerful rocket we have ever built. It's propelled by 2 solid rocket boosters and 4 engines on this core stage.
Hey, let me just turn this up
solid
for you.
rocket boosters are going to be firing for the first roughly 2 minutes of the flight, a little more than 2 minutes. And we call them solids because of the type of propellant in there. If you forgot it already, it's aluminum powder, ammonium perchlorate.
Amazing, in it, how we've managed to find new fuel.
Solid propellants are extremely stable. They're very reliable, but once you ignite them, they're going to keep burning. You can't really throttle them up and down. Like
Yeah,
you can with
that's it.
liquid
It's an
fuel.
on or
You
off
can
situation.
throttle just based off of the distribution. So you basically put more propellant in some areas and less in others as you're trying to really throttle the rocket.
Do you know
down.
you say it's like this is the Star Citizen in real life? It's if you've ever seen the show The Expanse.
And just a reminder is these things are firing.
If
They
not,
can
you need
steer,
to
they
watch
can
that show.
gimbal. The bottom part here, gimbal, just means you can really direct, and they're providing 90% of the steering as SLS is making the flight uphill, and more than 75% of the
Oh, no worries, no worries. Do you want me to, if you're watching it for your one, that's, I could take you out of this if you want.
largest single stage we've ever constructed. It's been through
Yeah, no worries.
a lot of preparation for this flight today, and it is.
It's alright, I'll put it back on. If you're watching it through his stream, I didn't realize I was doing it. But yeah, watch the TV show called The Expanse. It's literally Star Citizen, the show.
One of the great things about liquid fuel is you can
It is freaking amazing. The Ross and Nanti, man. Oh, what a ship.
So these throttle up to 104% of their rated thrust at the time of liftoff. We throttle them.
What was your
down
favorite
to
season, by the way?
max use, the maximum amount of pressure on SLS in the way uphill, and then throttle them back up until they've consumed all of their propellants. And they're consuming.
Season 2 was pretty cool, to be fair, because that's when the Cowboys character started coming to fruition a little bit, and the dynamic between him and Amos, I thought, was quite good.
Each of these up to 500,000 pounds each during their operation. And of all the different components, we've got this engine block section down here. You have all of the associated plumbing, everything.
Amos is definitely my favorite character, though.
You also have these two attachment points here, and that's where we actually tank the SLS rocket. So a lot of focus on those in the previous attempts. They've cooperated spectacularly so far today, and we've been able to fully tank this core station. Fuel, about 500,000 gallons right here of liquid hydrogen, and then an oxidizer. You need those two together, and then an ignition source. That's what gives you your reaction, your thrust, your basically controlled explosion that then comes out of those rocket engines. So fully tanked, these are cryogenic fuels, hundreds of degrees below zero, so we've got a spray-on insulation across the entire vehicle. As it's sitting out there in the Florida air, it's a little bit warm tonight, but we need to keep those hundreds of degrees below zero. It takes a lot of energy to do that, so the less you have to use to keep them cold, the better, which is
That's why it's always the best time to fuel your car is when it's cold.
time tonight as we clear all of those final issues. Again, this is going to be one heck of a show when this thing launches into the night sky. So with that, send it back over to you, Megan.
If you're just joining us, welcome to
Yeah, the
NASA's
SLS is
Kennedy Space
interested,
Center
to be
for
fair.
live launch coverage of Artemis 1.
Ah, I'm
NASA
so
Space
excited.
Station, This is NASA astronaut Kayla Barron. It's been great having you these past 2 hours.
It's been so awesome to be here for this historic launch tonight.
So right now we are awaiting new T0. The launch team has
Apparently, I spawned dead in my bed.
and they're doing a great job at working.
That's
through
crazy.
this. So now we're just waiting to see a new T0. Since
Yeah.
we had been aiming
Someone killed me in my
top of the
sleep.
launch window, which opened does open at 1:04 a.m. Eastern time. Now today is a big deal. Apollo 17 in 1972 was the last time humans stepped foot on the moon. That the rocket you see right there behind us, illuminated in the darkness there, is
Alright,
the first
let's
step
go.
back towards getting us to the moon. Now Artemis 1 is the first integrated flight test of NASA's deep space exploration systems. That's the ground systems here at Kennedy Space Center, the Space Launch System, or SLS rocket, and the Orion.
That's how much lag I've got in game. You've seen how long it took to take my suit off.
farther beyond the moon than any of the Apollo missions before it. For Artemis 2,
Micro at the moment. I've
astronauts on board as an
Oh, you're on about him. Sorry, my bad.
Then future Artemis missions will land the first woman and first person of color on the surface of the moon. So Kayla, why do we want to go back?
Yeah, I've moved everything over here. I've set my spawn here just ahead of Friday. So it's Friday, 4 p.m. English time. So to give you an idea, it's 5:38 a.m. at the moment.
Time in an international partnership for a permanent presence on the lunar surface that'll teach us everything we need to know to travel onto Mars.
And what about for you? I mean, you have the possibility of maybe being selected for those.
So you're what, 7 hours behind? So yeah, it'll be 11 o'clock your time. Yeah, 11 o'clock your time in night. Or would it? Yeah, morning.
Team that's doing this, we're just a small representation of all
No, I mean, for example, on Friday, the event will launch 11 o'clock in the morning for you, I believe.
So we're just all excited to support the program in any way we can. But of course, a ride to the moon would be incredible. So I think we're all just dreaming about those moonwalks.
Now, since Artemis 1 is setting the stage for those future crewed missions, is there anything in particular about this 26-day mission that you'll be watching?
Let's go.
Yeah, you know, we've mentioned that a few times throughout the broadcast tonight. The re-entry is a really important part of the
We're going to get over to Lawville to start off with, guys and girls. We're going to get over to Lawville. And then, yeah.
Coming in faster and hotter than any human-rated spacecraft in history. And so we really want to see how the heat shield
Welcome to the stream, everyone.
for that dynamic event.
Yeah, we'll all be watching for that. It's not just about the launch, 26-day mission, as you said. Keeping watch over the entire mission. Our workforce now is very different from what it was during the Apollo era. When Apollo 11 launched, there was only one female engineer in the firing room. Today's launch of Artemis 1 is led by NASA's first ever female launch director. Take a look at how she and other women across NASA are shattering glass ceilings.
When I was a little girl, I wanted to be an astronaut, a scientist, a doctor.
I always did want to be an astronaut or something. Do you know what? Growing up, it was one of them situations where I always wanted to get involved with space somehow. It was a dream of mine because it was just like, I'm so scared of the unknown on Earth, but I'm not scared of the unknown in space, if that makes sense. It's really weird.
NASA's first female launch director to be the launch director for Artemis.
It would be absolutely amazing.
Some of the most amazing women in my eyes are people like Catherine Johnson and the other women that you've seen in Hidden Figures.
Right, we're nearly here.
Sometimes it's difficult to believe that I'm on this side now, wearing this white suit with all of the other astronauts, representing this iconic image that has so inspired and excited me my entire life.
Being of South Asian heritage, Kalpana Chawla was just such a big thing for me growing up.
I've always looked up to Sally Ride and Mae Jemison, who really laid the foundation to allow people like me to be.
It looks like my PC's just locked up a little bit. Just bear with me a second. Stream. We've just locked up.
Of course, there are some fantastic women in leadership positions.
This is really annoying when it happens. There we go. It's because I'm killing my PC. I'm doing way too much for my PC. That's what it is. It's like encoding overload, basically.
And I look at our team today. It's much more a reflection of the world that we live
Yeah, let me close a few different bits off so we don't get that issue again.
Diverse backgrounds because it allows us to
Alright, how are we looking? Yeah, we still got stream going. Nice. Let's get him.
You've got the brains and you have the knowledge. We need you at the table. We are at such an exciting time in human spaceflight right now, and Artemis is such a huge part of that.
We haven't been to the moon in many, many years. We have a lot of younger generation folks that have never seen that happen.
We will understand so much more about the moon, about the Earth, about the solar system.
We're going to stay. And to me, that's an amazing idea. The moon is for how we.
That's incredible. This mission is going to be so good. This mission's just incredible.
Exciting to be part of this Artemis team. It still feels pretty
Welcome
surreal
to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
To see a woman and a person of color.
Have you guys done all the NVIDIA control panel tricks?
Space is for everyone, and that we go to space to make
Fair enough.
for everyone.
I was gonna say if you use NVIDIA, I've got a little video on it on my old YouTube channel. That's what was amazing is there's one guy in his server, right? He's got like 1650 or 1660, and he's gone from an average of 10 frames, 15 frames per second in the cities to 30 to 45, and I was like, there's no way he's had that much of an increase. Shared his screen, showed us, and I was like, holy, that's actually impressive.
And I just actually love that I don't feel like a woman at NASA.
Yeah, we did like the virtual memory stuff. We did like the NVIDIA control panel stuff, Windows Ultimate Power Plant, and yeah, it massively improved his game.
I'm the program scientist for space biology.
I'm the director of NASA's Johnson Space Center.
I am Artemis.
I am Artemis.
私はアルテミスです。Yo soy Artemis. Us
Yeah, it's processor. So Discord, when you watch streams or do a stream, uses a lot of processor performance, and of course we know Star Citizen loves using processors. So
Artemis, what do you think? Why is it so powerful to just hear those 3 words? I am Artemis. Why does
you
that
wait
resonate?
until 3.18's release, bro. There's a few rumors about a new graphics update, and then come 4, there's rumors that DLSS might be in there and AMD Fidelity. Just rumors. Which means obviously that we'll get even more. Just optimization ultimately is what it means.
I thought that was a very powerful video, and I'm glad that people got that message, young girls in particular. Another person who
So subscriber items are coming. If you have a look at your launcher, you'll see the Star Citizen Weekly that's been launched yesterday. It's got the David New subscriber flares are coming out for everyone. Yeah, you get everything. PTUs, everything's unlocked. Yeah.
Great women here at NASA. What is so important about us now being ready to send, the first woman, the first person of color to the moon?
Yeah, I loved watching that video.
There's over 100 ships, because obviously in the PTU it's already for IEE 2952, so there's over 100 ships that you can try.
Engineers and scientists and just so many roles at the agency. I've always thought one of the
Yep. Go over to New Babbage and have a look around.
And so our teams are stronger, I think, when we have that balance and that diversity. So that was exciting. But for me, I was...
Right, I need to get over to Lawville.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
What shall I fly over to Lawville in, guys? A Sabre, a Hornet, or a Cutty Blue?
It never occurred to me that there...
Nah, just a normal Sabre. I wish it was a Raven.
Of course, there were no women astronauts then. I think what's going to happen now with the Artemis generation is that...
Yeah, if that was a Raven, I'd be like, hey, do you want to see it? Come to my Twitch right now. Like, honestly, I saw it on the YouTuber called Ollie, something or other, and he's brilliant. I love that guy. The only way I can express him and Star Citizen is like a kid going into a sweet shop every day for the first day every time, right? It's so good.
Can you tell us more about those?
Yeah, it's really important.
Oh yeah, man. There's like you'll see there'll be mini Starfleet battles going on. I checked out one person's stream and there's already mini Starfleet battles.
Now those capabilities are proliferating throughout the world. And so what we do with the rocket is really important.
Tell you what, let's get in a Sabre.
Vehicle selected. Stand
and
by.
how we go is as teams and with
Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location.
With the sense of the responsibility that we have as we go out into the solar system to do it peacefully.
Well, remember with any game when they release something new, they'll make it overpowered as hell to make people buy it, and then they'll nerf it in the next patch. So it'll be nerfed in 3.18. Right, yeah.
Activity going on right now. So how does this first flight test of SLS compare to other first times, with Shuttle or with Saturn V before that?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing with this NASA flight. It's the first time the SLS has been flown properly.
There's a history there. In fact, the amazing thing about this is, so first flight of a first aircraft.
Board the ship.
You actually taxi it out to the end of the runway and then.
Oh, have we got that set up? I don't know if I've still got that unlocked. One second.
Then you might take off once and go around.
Transitioning to vessel.
Oh yeah, we have.
This is a little bit like taking off and going to fly a full mission on your very first flight of an aircraft. And so everything.
Oh shit, yeah, they just said it's like flying full mission for the first flight, so they have had no test runs of this device.
Where it's not just about learning the hardware.
Request launch permission.
But it's also about
affirmative.
Team together and your procedures and how you're going to deal with issues that come up, because they will come up. They always come up.
Exactly, and you have that experience.
Request launch permission. Oh, it's already done. It's just taking a little while to go through.
Which is pretty cool. So what is your perspective, or what advice do you have for the Artemis astronauts, those ones that are going to maybe set foot on the moon?
Oh, well, they don't need my advice. I'd love to elbow them out of the way and go to the
Are you on Babbage at the moment? See if you're in my server. Have a look at me for me in the player list.
This generation is prepared, ready, and excited.
Be announced live. It should be.
Excited that
Same as the name in here.
Center in the Artemis program too. We're going to learn so much about the solar system from the moon and even about the Earth. And so.
Oh no, you're in PTU, aren't you? Never mind. Never mind.
Doing that hands-on science.
Yeah, I'm not in
They
PTU.
are ready to go.
Right, I know they're ready to go, and maybe you are as well. But Artemis 1 is just the beginning. Then we have Artemis 2 and on. We're learning so much. What do you think about?
If you wanna do something crazy with a new ship, go into your settings right now. Go to your advanced key bindings. Go to vehicle cockpit and set toggle open close all doors. Get into that ship. Press F4. I've set mine to shift, left shift and minus. Tap that button and look all over the ship for every little compartment that opens. It's how I learned about weapon storage on a Gladius on the front left-hand side.
The next destination is Mars.
Right, I mean, we're going so much further than we ever have before. Pam Elway, thank you
Yeah.
for joining us.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Go Artemis. Megan, back to you.
Thank you both for that interview. Now, teams over at NASA's Johnson Space Center are also monitoring today's launch attempt. So why don't we go back over there with Leah to tell us what's going on over there.
Thanks, Megan. And you're right. Teams here in Mission Control Houston continue to monitor today's events.
Right,
Again, they
we
will
need to
really
get to
kick into
Lowville.
action once we have liftoff, and they'll remain on console all the way through splashdown. But quickly, I have to show you something, a little show and tell. It makes me feel like the coolest kid. In school, I've got a moon rock here. I hope you can get a good shot of it. It is from Apollo 15, 1971. And when it was brought back to Earth, it was part of a larger rock. In total, it was 21 pounds. This is, of course, a smaller section of that. But we're looking forward to the Artemis program and being able to go back to the moon so that we can continue to gather these kinds of samples, but this time at the lunar South Pole. We've never been there, never brought samples back from that area, so we're really excited to see what might differ in those
I just got 30K. That was lovely.
Of course, we've got a whole laboratory of scientists.
I've had more 30Ks in the last week than I have in the last 3 months.
Some up for the first time earlier this year, so that we're able to test
Alt and K. Alt left, Alt and K.
that we can learn about these samples that we brought back now 50 years ago. So hopefully,
So normally it's K, but you hold left Alt and tap K.
to use that same experimental process on and tell us a little bit more about the moon. But just had to show this off. Apollo 15.
Nah, Alt and K,
We're
yeah.
looking forward to having some Artemis 1.
Right, I'll speak to you guys soon in Discord. I'm gonna go get some ship shopping done on stream. So I'll speak to you guys in a bit. Enjoy your new ship.
Now you're even a cooler kid.
Peace.
Now the name Artemis was chosen because in Greek mythology, she's the twin sister of Apollo. NASA's Leo Martin is.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things with that stream is the fact that like twin sister of Apollo. Do you know what I mean? A bit of lore behind the ship name.
Hi, Megan. I'm actually joined here tonight by a very special group of guests here from Stennis visiting Kennedy Space Center. Why don't you tell me, Ryan, what it is that ties you to tonight's launch?
So we were lucky and privileged enough to be able to test the core stage of the SLS rocket that's going to launch today. We got to Green Run, which is a full duration hot fire. It's a very historic time for us at Stennis. It was so exciting to be a part of it. It was 7 years.
That's amazing. 7 years worth of hard work paid off.
Really
Look.
great people.
And Jack, sorry.
Just so excited to be here to see it.
And Jack, you were actually telling me that you know firsthand, how much work has gone into tonight's launch. What does it feel like to be here tonight, seeing the rocket fully integrated on the pad, ready to go?
Man, I'm just incredibly grateful to be a part of this history and just really excited to see this thing launch.
And Barry, you were telling me that you
It is. This is a thing stream. What you're witnessing here on a little side window is a part of history. This is incredible. I can't wait for the launch to happen. It's going to just be insane. This new rocket launch that you're seeing while we're waiting for the game to load, by the way, we're just playing a game called Star Citizen. If you are new to the channel, welcome everyone. This is a game that you're seeing loading called Star Citizen. It's a space game. We'll talk more about that when it's loaded. But on the webcam, what you're seeing is my PC. Here's my hand. That's going to react to what's on the main screen. And basically what we're going to be doing is, if I just change this over right now on the screen, 1 second. There we go. We'll get that changed over. So that's now going to replicate what's on my screen like Philip's Ambulite. What you're seeing in the other side with the NASA footage is the live Artemis rocket launch. So we're watching that while we're playing a game because it's part of history. Do you know what I mean? It is part of history. But we're going to actually Alt F4 the game because we just had a 30k, which means a server crashed. So I'm going to just quit the launcher. We'll relaunch the game. There's one of the screenshots from it.
In the beginning of the Artemis program, I know that they're probably looking at the clock and wondering when we might see the launch.
So just bear me a second while I log back into the game. Do we have any space nerds in chat at all?
Rocket Center, where we have a ton of people waving their flags, cheering us on tonight for
MaverGaming.com. Remember, sign in. Okay, we're just signing back into the game right now. Look.
And yeah, this is the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. This is the Visitor Center over in Huntsville, Alabama. As I've said before, Marshall Space Flight Center there.
Okay, let's go and launch. All right. Just launching now. Clean shot, skinny, what's that? Let's have a look. There's some predictions about what's going to be revealed at the event on Friday.
So Airbus is the main contractor for the European Space Agency.
The show started en route in the luggage, text-free adapter,
the European Service Module, which is
pulley of content.
of the Orion spacecraft. So we have
I'm looking forward to the event on Friday. It's going to be good. I just wish I had some more money IRL to be able to spend on it.
So I'm going to say Guten Morgen to them. Did I say it right? Guten Morgen to them over there in Bremen, Germany. Again, the Airbus company. All right, so let's another check on the launch team with our Daryl Nail, who's inside there and has an update for us.
Yeah, that's right, Megan. So we are clearly in a delay now. The NASA test director, who's basically flying the ship for the launch countdown tonight, has said that we are extending the hold that we were currently.
Oh, they're extending the hold.
10 minutes and counting. And so that puts us off the 1:04 a.m. Eastern Time launch. We're now slipping indefinitely into the hold. And NASA test director Carlos Monge saying that we are currently estimating how much work needs to be done before resuming the polling that is supposed to take place 15 minutes before launch.
Oh, okay.
Count at T-minus 10 minutes. Now we've got an update on the tanking of the upper stage liquid hydrogen tank. Currently 95% filled. We're in topping on that tank. It is the last of 4 tanks in the Space Launch System that needed to be completely fueled up before we launch. Of course, cryogenic tanking, a complex operation that has seen some delays tonight. We had a roughly hour delay.
Okay. So there's been quite a bit of a delay with it so far, but we're nearly there. We're only 5% left of fuel in the actual tank.
Then went out to the launch pad and tightened down some bolts on the valve and got it fixed before leaving the launch pad. And then
literally.
That
so
work was complete.
Tighten a few. Literally, if in doubt, screw it up a little bit tighter. That's what they've done. That's amazing. Right, we're in the game, guys and girls. This is Star Citizen. So we're gonna go and get into our ship. We're gonna go right now and get into that. If you do want to know more about this game, if you type !space in the chat, you will find out all the juicy details about this game. It is free to fly in 2 days' time.
That was delayed by a bad Ethernet switch has been changed out, and now the range is looking to start testing their connectivity to the rocket.
Okay, so another issue was an Ethernet switch. Just the like the RJ45 connections on the switch or something like that, I bet.
So again, we are slipping now indefinitely into the launch window. We're awaiting the launch team
Interesting.
to evaluate just how much time is required to complete the work to get this.
Right, let's go to the spaceport again, guys. Hopefully the server won't 30k this time.
Report that out right away. Megan, back to you.
Daryl, thank you so much. As NASA prepares to explore the moon, here's a look at the spacesuits and tools that will help us to do that.
Let's have a look at these actually, because it'll be interesting to see the type of attire they're going to be wearing and the tools that they're going to be using when they're actually on the moon.
Footage of astronauts doing geology on the surface of the moon is a really
Is this almost like watching the original moon landing? Technically, but not as iconic. If you don't believe in it, then fair play, but
science operations on the moon and what it's like to work on the moon. You see them doing geology. You see them taking rock samples, putting in a drive tube to take a core sample. You see them bouncing along the surface of the moon on the lunar rover that they used in Apollo 15 through 17. So it's a great way to help drive technology development.
Trainers here. Let's go.
Sampling tools.
There's these facilities that help us train like we are on the lunar surface. You know, these 1.6G offload systems or putting people in the aquatic environment are great ways to train the mobility part, right? Like what can you do and how different does it feel to be in 1.6G and do these?
I would love to do that for a day.
Astronauts in geology and geoscience for decades now. The Apollo astronauts had literally hundreds of hours of training in geology before they flew to the moon. It's often said that the Apollo astronauts had the equivalent of a master's degree in geology by the time they flew to the moon.
Oh wow, an equivalent of a master's degree. That's insane. That is actually insane, the amount of knowledge.
Because when they're on the ISS, they spend time observing the Earth, looking out the window, taking pictures of what they see on the Earth's surface. Now that we're looking at putting astronauts on the surface of the moon, we also take them into the field. We take them to field sites here on Earth that resemble field sites that we expect them to see on the moon.
That's the reason why we take them out into places that are unique, like volcanic landscapes or places that are analogous to the lunar surface to train them.
We're nearly here. We're nearly at Microtech. New Babbage.
And so by combining this classroom and field training, we're able to prep them for fundamentals of geology, the major driving lunar science questions that we have that we hope to address with the Artemis program, and teaching them how to do field work in relevant analog environments.
For just science aspects.
Let's go. Let's get up to the top and recall that ship.
You to where you need to go, and then once you get there, can you do the cool science that you need to do? And so that's
That's a cool suit. That is a cool suit.
Be able to collect the samples or use the tools or the instruments. For the visibility, it's like, can you make the necessary observations that you need to, or does the suit have the lights on it that it needs to illuminate the surface and make the observations you need to?
I would love to work like with this stuff, honestly.
Tremendous resources that are going to allow us to continue to explore. This is a place that we've never been before. There's so much to be learned from getting boots on the ground and
Oh, hello everyone.
place that challenges us as humans.
We got a little party going, have we?
Us develop technologies that make
We're here. We're just all standing here.
We think there might be volatiles present at the
Yeah.
By using these volatiles, we'll be able to
What are we doing here, guys?
drinking water, create rocket fuel to launch astronauts back to Earth. And so by harnessing the power of the land, we'll be able to help astronauts establish that long-term sustainable presence.
They'll all start dispersing soon.
It's human nature to explore, pushing our boundaries and exploring our universes.
Oh, encoding overload.
It's just stuck in our human nature.
Welcome to New Babbage.
Understand the world around us, including our Earth,
Welcome
our solar system.
to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
We just heard there how curiosity is just a part of us. So, with that in mind, why don't we do some social questions? Because some people are very curious to hear what you have to say about their questions. So why don't we pull up the first question here?
Stand by.
What are your
Your
thoughts
vehicle has
on
been
the
delivered to the following
responsibilities
location.
that come with going to space? Obviously, a question for you. I am
Please
not going
visit
to
us again.
space.
The opportunity to travel to space comes with a lot of responsibility.
Hangar 4 we gotta go to, guys and
To be a
girls.
part of these teams, and the work we're doing is so critical in supporting scientific discovery on the ground. So on the International Space Station, we're a national laboratory. Our crew executed over 350 different scientific experiments during our 6-month mission. And so when you think about that, it's years of work to
Alright, let's get over that.
an experiment on the space station. And sometimes that's someone's life's work you're holding in your hands and executing. And so being prepared for those moments is really important, and understanding how to bring the team from the ground into solving complex problems. We take that really, really seriously. And of course, we want to...
Yeah, you would do, wouldn't you?
Like, only a few people have been able to go to space. And as we commercialize space, as
Board the ship?
orbit becomes more accessible, that'll change. But still, it's only available to some of us. So we really want to share what and the perspective we gain from our time up there.
Oh, it's gonna lag now again. Sorry if this freaks out for a second, guys.
Experiment that you're holding, that you're working on for 6 months, somebody has been working on literally for years. I mean, I've talked to some scientists, and they're saying, "Oh, this has been my life's work, 20 years of my life's work." So yeah, that was a really good question. I like that question a lot.
Just bear with us. We have this issue with our
Social media here. Astro Kayla, have you considered what you might say if you had the opportunity to be the first female to set foot on the moon's surface?
No, I have not considered that. If I was in that role, it's something I would take really seriously. I think the
PC's lagging. 1 second.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Okay.
30k again. Yeah. We had a sneaky feeling that would happen.
I think we all have that.
That's 2 30Ks in a short amount of time.
So I think it's something I would have to think a lot about ahead of that mission.
Yeah, that would be in the history books. That'll be something you're remembered for. Oh my gosh, I'd be so anxious delivering it, even after I've thought of what I want to say, like to actually open my mouth and say it from the surface of the moon. Wow. Yeah.
Right, let's go again.
About that one for exactly. Sure. Okay, let's see another question here. Oh, why is the spacesuit orange in color?
That's an awesome question that I wish I knew the answer to. Megan and I were actually talking about that earlier when we had Snoopy up here. It's a continuation of the same suit that we used during the shuttle era, and I was kind of hypothesizing that maybe it's to help forces if for some reason when we landed in the water we had to get out of the capsule for some reason, it would be easy to see us. But that I'm gonna have to take a phone a friend on that one, I think, to know the real answer. I'm sure somebody will be commenting on
I wonder what the actual real answer is to that.
I know, I'm trying to think about it too. I'm thinking, does it have anything to do with SLS being orange because of the foam
mature
insulation?
vehicle.
Yeah,
Why not?
Maybe it's that.
I don't know.
I don't know. We got stumped. That was our first one that we got stumped on. Do we have another question? All right. If you could name one of the moon's craters.
That's a good question, actually, chat. What would you name one of the moon's craters?
I thought you might say the name of your zero-G graph.
Oh, FOW? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's a pretty big responsibility, I think, to name these geological features. And a lot of the craters on the moon already have names. So I'm sure there's some that maybe they haven't named. They're too small.
Honestly, I love being able to play a space game whilst seeing a historical space flight happen at the same time. You know, we're waiting for this to be launched. This is just incredible. We're witnessing some history here, ladies and gents. Just remember that. Just gonna go get a top up on my drink, ladies and gentlemen.
I think they understand.
All right,
these are big decisions.
This is all right. Last question here for this segment, at least. What will Orion do when it gets to the moon?
So for this mission, Artemis 1, it's actually going to orbit the moon and then go into a distant retrograde orbit. And so it'll get really close as 62 miles, and then go way past the moon and way deeper into space than we've ever been before. So yeah, the Orion vehicle will be checking out all of its systems. We're going to be analyzing that data from the ground, and then we're going to see that it can survive re-entry and a successful splashdown off the coast of San Diego.
Yeah, that was a good question too. Okay, well, again, just keep those questions coming. You know, we're entering into this launch window, and we do have time, so we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to try, at least, to answer most of your questions. So you've been hearing throughout the broadcast all the different science that returning to the moon will enable us to do. So there's actually something called the Prime 1 mining experiment, and that's going to robotically look for ice and other resources below the lunar surface.
NASA's first Polar Resources Ice Mining Experiment, also known as Prime 1, will robotically look for ice and other resources below the lunar surface. Thanks to data from spacecraft orbiting the moon, Scientists believe that the polar regions contain water ice in the form of ice just below the surface. With the right technologies, that ice is a game-changing resource that can be mined and used to produce propellant and breathable oxygen for future explorers. Under NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services Initiative, the agency selected intuitive machines to fly and land Prime 1 on the Moon's south pole. Prime 1 will land near the Shackleton crater to drill into the lunar soil in an area that could contain water ice. Prime 1 is made up of two instruments, Trident, the regolith and ice drill for exploring new terrain, and
Oh, wait, this is all the tools then that we're learning about now. So these are the tools of the moon ships, I guess.
Extract lunar soil and bring it up to the surface. Trident drills to its maximum depth in multiple phases, stopping at different increments. As it reaches each desired depth, it will pause and retract the drill string to deposit lunar soil on the surface for analysis. This is where M-SOLO comes in. M-SOLO is a commercial off-the-shelf mass spectrometer modified for spaceflight. It will evaluate the chemical elements and compounds released from the lunar soil.
Oh, wow. So it's just literally an off-the-shelf version.
Trident will then proceed to the next specified depth and repeat the process until samples at all desired depths have been analyzed for water. If no ice is
That's
found
impressive.
when Prime 1 lands, NASA will still collect valuable information about drilling into the lunar
You okay
soil for
there?
a future mission. NASA's Viper, the Volatiles Investigating Polar Exploration Rover, will
We
use
just
Prime
made
1
it, just made it.
technology on a mobile robot that will navigate the moon's south pole, searching for additional resources. Prime 1 data will help NASA assess lunar resources to inform future Artemis missions and a robust human presence on the moon.
We got a few different items now. I can drop that. We don't need that.
So we are still awaiting a new T0 for today's launch attempt.
Welcome to New Babbage again.
What to expect when we launch for this first day. Let's go to NASA's Dan Hewitt. He's inside our Apollo Saturn V Center at the KSC Visitor Complex.
Hey, thanks, Megan. Everybody, welcome back to the moon board. There's a lot of people here in the complex. I just heard a woo-hoo. People are getting in and out because we have a great view of launch when it's going to happen, and it's going to happen today. But that launch is just the first step in the Artemis 1 mission. So
Yeah, the Artemis 1 mission path is going to be, the flight path is going to be crazy.
As we just said, launch
Look at
is
this.
step number 1. Those 4 RS-25 engines throttle up, followed shortly after by the 2 solid rocket boosters igniting, sending SLS and Orion skyward. Now on our way uphill, we'll have a number of jettison events. You'll be able to see things coming off of the SLS rocket. One of the most visual ones will be these 2 solid rocket boosters. Now they'll expend their propellant a little over 2 minutes into the flight. They will separate. We'll see them flare off onto either side, and then the core stage continues to fire. We're also going to see the launch abort system come off the top. Once you get high enough in the atmosphere, it's no longer required. You could actually do aborts using engines on Orion and its service module.
That's crazy.
Also note that on the launch abort system, it's got those 3 solid rocket motors. The jettison motor is active. The abort and the attitude ones are not for this flight. We don't have people, so we're not flying a fully active abort system. We also have 3 fairings that are there to protect Orion, the service module, and the crew module as we're flying up through the really dense parts of the Earth's atmosphere. Next up,
Oh, this is not the first manned mission back to the moon. This is the first test of a rocket that can take men and women back to the moon, I guess.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval
Eventually
System.
going to splash down in the ocean. And that hands over the
Vehicle
propulsion
selected.
duties to this,
Stand
our
by.
upper stage, the interim cryogenic propulsion stage.
Your
or
vehicle has been
ICPS.
delivered to the following
Its
location.
first job is to execute what's known as a perigee raise maneuver. So the perigee is the lowest part of your orbit. You have a perigee, that's your low part, and an apogee, that's your highest point. We're going to raise up the perigee, and that's going to actually put us in a nice circular path around the planet. And while we're there, that gives us time
That's
to
gonna be
check out
amazing.
Orion. We're flying it in space for the second time, the first time in this fully integrated stack with SLS. We'll be able to look at all of Orion's systems, make sure those solar arrays are
Board the
capturing
ship.
sun's energy and turning it into electrical power for Orion's systems. Make sure the communications are working. All all of our guidance, navigation, moon control. That is your time to make sure you have a healthy spacecraft before you do something that is going to send it to the moon. And that's next up on our list. That's the trans-lunar injection.
Request launch permission.
That's going to be a firing for about 18 minutes of that
Request launch permission.
stage. Now that engine optimized for a vacuum. It's producing about 24,000.
Hold on, I'm going to relaunch the voice attack.
Because we need enough energy to be able to send our payload Orion beyond low Earth orbit and send it on a path to head out to the moon. Now after that burn is complete, ICPS separates. It's going to do what's called a disposal burn. So it's going to send itself on a path.
We're just going to relaunch that right now.
Around the moon and slingshot out into what's known as a heliocentric orbit. So it's going to completely leave the Earth-Moon system and go into orbit around our sun. But after it separates, propulsion duties get handed over to this, the European Service Module. And it's got a couple of different engines that it's going to be using, and we're going to be testing those out just on day 1.
There we go. Right, let's launch and get out of there.
Correction burn 1. And we'll do a couple of trajectory corrections as we're flying out to the moon. But
The track landing gear?
Is that first critical test of this large engine, the orbital maneuvering system engine. That's the one that has the most
A little boom boom on the
in a vacuum, and that's what's going to be doing
the gear then. That's alright.
And that's this dotted line that you see around here. Now we call it distant, basically because of the distance we're away from the moon. We're about
No, we don't want to go there. We need to go to Lawville.
the lunar surface, and then we call it retrograde because the moon orbiting planet Earth in this direction, going in a counterclockwise fashion, we're going to be entering into a clockwise orbit around the moon, opposite retrograde. Now to do that, we're going to get in close, we're going to dip in off the lunar surface, we're going to be about 80 miles, 80 statute miles off the lunar surface as we do this outbound powered flyby. Again, the major thrust coming from that orbital maneuvering system engine. After we do that, we'll do a final maneuver to actually go into that distant retrograde orbit, that DRO. Now, why DRO? Why are we not just going around the moon and coming back on like a free return trajectory, which we did on some of the Apollo missions? Well, in DRO,
Spool quantum drive.
Orbit, it doesn't require a lot of fuel to maintain that
Spool.
around the
Yeah,
moon.
there
So
we
it
go.
gives you a lot of time to really test the spacecraft. If you followed with any launch of a new spacecraft,
Engage
there's
jump.
only so much testing you can do on the ground. Once you actually
Jumping.
put all of that hardware into space, in the environment, hundreds of thousands of miles away from Earth, you're going to learn things you didn't even realize about everything from communications, the life support systems, thermal control, everything on a spacecraft needs to get put through its paces in this environment before we put people on board. That's why we're heading out to DRO.
Okay, okay.
It's going to be time to come home, and we will do a DRO departure maneuver. This, again, firing up that orbital maneuvering system engine and others.
Space travel is just amazing.
And this is what's going to commit us from leaving the moon and heading on back towards Earth. We'll dip in once more, close off the lunar surface, slingshot, and use the lunar gravity to do this return powered flyby. And then, similar to the way out, we can make correction burns as we kind of fine-tune our path back towards the Earth. And then it's time for re-entry. A couple of things happen before that. One of the really critical ones, spacecraft separation. We're gonna
Does anyone in chat know how long we're out for in this mission?
re-entry, its job largely done. That burns up in the Earth's atmosphere and reveals on the crew module the heat shield. I circled it earlier. This is goal number 1 of the Artemis mission. Artemis 1 mission is testing this heat shield at lunar return velocities, because when we make that trip around the moon and we come back, we are going in speeds of excess of 20,000 miles an hour. So when we slam into the Earth's atmosphere, it's going to heat that thing up to more than 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. For the Artemis 1,
Yeah, it was good, buddy.
what's known as a skip re-entry. So basically, you can come into
Just watching the Artemis launch on stream, playing some Star Citizen.
and you're going to do what's known as ballistic entry, which really heats things up. We're going to do kind of a mix.
Come to my Twitch, you'll see it. It's a historical moment, buddy.
That helps to reduce some of the G loads on the crew. Once you're
Yeah.
Deploy. There's 11 parachutes in total that are going to slow Orion down before it splashes down. We're going to be going
The new Artemis rocket with SLS in.
300 miles an hour before those parachutes deploy, and then they do a final job of getting it in the water in the South Pacific. We've got these big orange balloons. That's an uprighting system, so even if Orion landed in the water upside down, those can inflate, and they put us back upright into what's known as stable one. That's where you want your spacecraft to be, nice and upright in the water, especially if you're an astronaut and they're floating. Now, we also have a large U.S. Navy ship with a big bay that's going to basically come up and swallow Orion into its deck, and you've got
This is
a couple of
amazing.
other
It's
assets
actually
in the area
amazing.
to help recover hardware, the forward bay cover, parachutes, things like that. But that's scheduled to happen 26 days after a launch today. So
Okay, it's 26 days for it to return to Earth.
around the moon to a splashdown in the Pacific, and that will be the first mission in the Artemis program, the farthest we've ever sent a human-rated spacecraft in history, and just the first step before we put people on board. So that's a look at everything still to come, counting down to that launch. I'll send it back over to Megan and the team at the host desk, guys.
A very comprehensive look at that. Thank you so much, Dan. If you're just joining us, welcome to Kennedy Space Center and our live coverage of Artemis 1, an uncrewed flight test that will return us to the moon in nearly 50 years. But some might ask, why the moon? Well, here's why.
Moonbase.
We are going. The history of this agency is marked with broken barriers, once viewed as impossible.
Right, stream, we are 10 million kilometers away, 10.5 mil.
That have spun industries all their own, and with demonstrations of peace for all humankind.
We soar in the skies of our home planet. We maintain a human presence just outside of gravity, and we touch points all across the solar system and beyond. We're going back to the moon, and this is fun.
The moon is a treasure.
Do you get like proper hyped about this shit? I do. It's like me, I'm like watching this, playing Star Citizen, and I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Every major program and mission NASA has invested in has led to technologies and capabilities that have shaped our culture.
The breakthroughs of the Artemis era will define our generation and the generations to follow.
The tens of thousands of jobs associated with propelling us to the moon today are just the beginning of a lunar economy that will see hundreds of thousands of new jobs develop around the world.
This is not an ambition of one entity or one country. The exploration of the moon is a shared effort.
Woven together by a desire for the greater good. Why the moon? Because the missions of tomorrow will be sparked by the accomplishments of the Artemis generation today.
yeah,
The ambition to go has already begun.
100%.
We need to learn what it takes to establish a community on another cosmic shore. So let's camp close before pushing out.
And so, we go to the moon now not as a series of isolated missions, but to build a community on and around the moon capable of proving how to live on other worlds.
I think that's one of the most important things, is to see if we can actually go out there and be an interplanetary species. You know, eventually when we go to different planets and learn to terraform them, will we see it as a second chance, or will we just mess it up like we did with this planet? Do you know what I mean?
Positioning us for long-term science and exploration of the lunar surface.
We will prove what it takes to assemble a complex ship in deep space.
We will perfect descending down to and returning from a distance.
Quantum travel initiated.
Spacesuit designs, mobile habitats, and with reconnaissance.
The other thing is seeing the new suits. They look amazing.
We will establish fission power plants
All right, we are at Lowville.
None of this is simple or easy, but nothing in our history ever has been.
Lowville looks beautiful at the moment, I'm not gonna lie.
Natural extension of all that we've learned in low Earth orbit. And what we will accomplish there will ensure the monumental missions to Mars are within reach. As we ready the launch of the first Artemis mission, and as commercial companies ready their lunar landers for the first
Request landing permission.
Request sent.
have already begun.
Always get confused with them pads up there and then down here. We need to go down here. I'm in the wrong place.
Who have come out for hopefully the maiden voyage of Artemis 1. People from near and far, young and old, just really excited to hopefully
Request landing permission.
this historic flight.
Request
Now
for
we're
docking
joined by
sent.
somebody else who has a really interesting story. Leah, tell us about
Please
it.
proceed to assign
Megan,
landing
I
bay.
think one of the most exciting things about being here tonight is being with people who are like-minded, who have such a strong tie to the history of our nation's space program and their love of spaceflight. And I actually struck up an amazing conversation with Scott here, and you were telling me about the special tie that you have to tonight's launch as well.
Oh yeah, I literally grew up with NASA. My father went to work with the NHCA before NASA. Went to work for Dr. Von Braun. Followed him over to Marshall Space Flight Center, and became, when it became NASA, he worked on the Jupiter C, Redstone, Saturn I, Saturn V, and then because of that, he brought me here to see Apollo 11 launch. So that was my first launch.
Deploy landing
5
gear.
years old. I loved it. Still remember the sound. That's about all. But and then
Gear
years
down.
later, through my flying career, I was able to bring my sons back with my friends that flew the shuttle, and
Oh.
they saw 5 launches.
We just lost a wing.
Complete.
4
Have a
landings.
pleasant stay.
But basically, I wanted to be here. I was here for the first moon launch. The last moon launch back when Uncle Gene Cernan, our family friend, went to.
I'm pretty sure somewhere there's an obsidian ant in human form, oblivious to my existence. I think he has a YouTube channel. I might have to subscribe. Wonder if he's aware of me yet.
Incredible. So you have NASA actually in your DNA, grew up with the program.
Yeah. I knew most of the German scientists. The kids sat in our lab, Dr. Ernst Stirlinger, and my father flew with Von Braun because he was a general aviation pilot as well. So they get off work and fly. And
Wow, this guy's got a good family history.
magazine together, National Geographic. So it was fun. I literally got to knew Al Shepard, all the Mercury, Gemini, Apollo guys, and it was an honor. I would have loved to have been an astronaut, but I went a different route. And but I can still come here and see him.
We can, and we're so grateful, so thrilled to see you here tonight.
We get it, she
So excited
says.
that you will be able to actually compare
Did you hear that bit where she's like, we get it? This guy is about to cry, bless his heart. Do you know what I mean? He's so proud of NASA and what it's become.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been an honor to meet you. And Megan, we're going back to you.
Leah, thank you so much for sharing that. That was such a fun story. Here we are now at Space Center Houston. This is a live look inside of the visitor center there. Lots of people hoping to see the launch today. I love this.
I'm getting ready to lag him off on you, Dill.
Presenting. And again, just seeing children and young and old, just all these people who feel captivated and are excited about our next giant leap into deep space. So glad to have them here. Oh my gosh, I love this.
Yeah, the team in
Right,
Marshall and Huntsville
let's have a
there
look
is
what we're
always
gonna
ready
buy.
for their shot. Waving their flags, they're super pumped. That's the home to the SLS program office, so they have a dog in the fight tonight,
They
seeing
do.
Artemis launch for the first time.
Is that an inflatable astronaut in the center? Do you see that? I think somebody is dressed up as an
look
astronaut.
at that.
Yeah,
They're ready to go.
representing.
We
I
can get a
love this.
retaliator.
They're there. Again, these visitor centers are closed to the public. public, but you know, the people there decided to hold a watch party, and
look,
that's
our
exciting
friends
to
in
see.
Germany are ready.
I don't like the paint for the Sentinel, to be fair.
The delay, they look pumped and ready to go.
So
Redeemer.
these are employees of Airbus. Airbus is the main contractor for the European Space Agency, and together they provided the European service module for the Orion spacecraft. So really, we should be applauding them. They shouldn't be applauding. Thank you so much, guys, for your contribution to the program. And,
Great Buccaneer we can get.
Orion and SLS launch. Okay, so now let's head back over to Daryl Nail over with
The Herald's so weird looking as
any
well.
updates about a new T0.
Yeah, Megan, thank you. And a clearer picture is starting to emerge as the launch team now reports out that they only have a few minutes left of work to do before they're ready to pick up polling. And we're also hearing that some of that polling, which kicks off with the mission management team, is also now just about 3.5 minutes away. Now, we are currently still in that hold, but the launch team, NASA's test director, is continuing to move the team forward. We've wrapped up work on the upper stage and the lower stage. You're looking now live.
All right, we'll give you.
Where launch director Charlie Blackwell Thompson is overseeing her launch team. We've had a number of delays that have put us off the T0, but we are starting to track to a T0 close to around a quarter till, top of the hour. But we do.
I think you just made one hell of a good
need to
decision.
have some polling that takes place. I'm pausing now because I'm listening in to the teams as they communicate. In this launch window, which we're currently 26
Oh, we
minutes
should have got
into,
one of
it's 2
them.
hours long. It runs until 3:04 a.m. Eastern time. We have what's called
Hey,
40 cutouts.
Welcome to the new deal.
And in those cutouts, they range from about a second to about a minute. These are times where they can't launch. These cutouts must be accounted for when determining a new T0.
We'll go for a Constellation Andromeda as well.
How good did that just feel? No rush like buying a new
The
ship.
upper stage of the rocket,
Yeah,
which was the
there we
last
go.
to get ready and configured. Just recently, the team cycled the liquid hydrogen valves, which is required.
Let's get away from New Deal because that makes the PC lag so much over there.
Liquid oxygen valves in the upper stage. That work is almost done.
Alright, let's get in the menu, see what we can do to upgrade the ships that we just bought. I want to see what they're like. We got the...
We are now a minute and a half away from the poll of the mission management team.
Wow, that's a
which is
lot of
several minutes
callers.
before
Wow.
T-minus 15 minutes.
Wow. That is a lot of callers.
When that poll starts,
What about
we'll
weapons?
get a clearer picture.
Max weapons.
We got a lot of weapons as well. So many weapons on this thing.
NASA's test director has informed the launch team to all switch to a common communication channel. It's called 232.
Oh, what's happening?
And what this means is that the entire launch team is now...
What's happening? Just bear with me, stream. There we go, we're back.
And all future communication...
So there's a lot of missiles on that ship.
Channels. Now they reduce it down to one.
Wow, but you got a lot of missiles for days.
Just heard from NASA test director Carlos Monge. I'm sorry, Jeff Spaulding. Jeff Spaulding's on. They swapped out. There are currently no constraints to launch. Great news. Again.
No constraints to launch. That is brilliant news.
And they're getting ready to pick up with a poll to determine readiness for launch.
Welcome to the ASOP Vehicle Retrieval System.
That's brilliant news. What other big ship did we kit out? Apparently, oh, we got one in the fighter bay, that's why. I'm going to get into the Constellation Andromeda. I'm going to go and have a look at what that's like.
Stand by. Your vehicle has been delivered to the following location. Please visit us again.
I just got 3 new ships vibe. Do you want to know what I got, buddy?
NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding getting ready to conduct.
We got the old.
So we are getting close.
What did you call it? Constellation Andromeda, Retaliator, and
we're gonna pull up the audio now,
the Sentinel.
so that you can listen
Oh
in.
wait, we can listen in.
Please go. And rock. Rockets go. All right, copy all.
And rockets go.
LTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
Launch team is ready to proceed.
At this time, I will proceed with my poll.
And this time I will proceed with my poll.
232,
Oh wow, this ship looks nice.
The final poll for launch. Verified no constraints and go for launch. EGS Program Chief Engineer.
EGS Program Chief Engineer verifies that the EGS, SLS, and Orion Program Chief Engineers have no constraints and are go for launch.
Nice, we're getting everyone going for launch.
The EGS CSO verifies the SLS Orion and EGS CSOs have no constraints and are go for launch.
Copy, John. Thank you. Range weather.
Weather has no constraints and weather is go for launch.
Copy LWO and mission manager. And mission manager, launch director.
Launch director, mission manager on 232. The mission management team has been pulled. You have a go to proceed with terminal count and launch of Artemis 1.
Enter the pilot seat.
I copy all, thank you. And entity, launch director.
Go ahead, launch director.
Yes, sir. On behalf of all the men and women across our great nation who have worked...
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The launch is about to happen.
...make this day possible. And for the Artemis generation, this is for you. At this time, I give you a go to resume count and launch Artemis 1.
Oh my god, here we go.
Launch director, and thank you.
Yo, dude, we're giving him a go ahead for the countdown to resume with T-minus 10 minutes.
CVSC here. Initiate recording of Orion cameras at this time. In work. RNTD. RSR here. Perform the booster ignition SNA arm rotation enable.
NDT, RSR, booster ignition SNA arm and rotation enable is complete.
And I copy, thank you.
Okay, so there you heard the poll from launch director.
Let's go.
Early.
Getting ready to get that new T0 time. The poll that you heard was the NASA test director's poll.
All right, and we have verified no cutouts at this time. And all personnel, we are going to resume the clock.
You are clear to
resume
launch.
the clock on your mark.
GLS copies. Countdown clock. Resume on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. GLS mainline has been initiated.
Okay.
T-minus 10 minutes and counting.
10 minutes and counting. Here we go, guys and girls.
Of Artemis 1, as you can see, the clock is now moving. Let's put that up. T-minus 9 minutes and 47 seconds. The L-minus 15 Station pulled
Flight show 64744 is the new liftoff time.
Affirm.
Okay.
Power up the ship.
Commencing now.
1
moment, please.
1:47 a.m. Eastern Time and 44
The ship is
minutes.
online.
We went straight into terminal count. Liftoff now 9 minutes away. So terminal count. Control has been given over to the GLS, the ground launch sequence, the computer and software that is doing all of the commanding and monitoring of the Space Launch System. We'll hear call-outs from the GLS operator, Alex Pandalos. As well as NASA Test Director Jeff Spaulding.
Retract landing gear.
GLS is pre-tensioning the umbilicals at this very moment. You can see them as they run down the rocket. That's getting them ready to detach. At liftoff, those arms will swing away, let go of the rocket in a clockwise direction. T-minus 8 minutes and counting.
Here we go, 8 minutes. This is so hype.
Performing up to 100 commands per second, including configuring ground systems for power transfer to the rocket.
Oh, we can see a little bit there.
GLS is turning on cameras, recording video inside and outside the crew module to collect data for engineers.
First time we're seeing this ship, actually. What we got here?
Purging
bit of
the
a shower.
booster, high flow nitrogen.
Little
Clear out
cubby
any
holes.
nitrogen gas that may be there.
Is that a door that we can open and close?
You can see the crew
We'll need
access arms
to
already